He's a simple creature. He just needs an objective.
Get Even is a very unique game. It's not the best game, but it takes a lot of risks, does things very differently to other games, and it kept me guessing the whole way through, and for that originality, it should be applauded. One of the main reasons I liked Get Even though was the fact that it was set in and around Birmingham, in areas like Solihull and Bromsgrove, areas that I know rather well but that never ever feature in video games. All of the buildings and businesses that appear in the game are fictional, of course. There's no rundown Lythurst Asylum in Bromsgrove, for instance, and aside from a company that specialises in air rifles, there are no weapons manufacturers based in Solihull. There is one point in the game, though, where fiction starts to bleed into reality, and it's about to lead me on an actual, real-life treasure hunt. Now, before I go any further, certain aspects of the locations I'm about to mention could be classed as story spoilers, but I'm going to try and keep it as vague as possible so it won't ruin the experience if you're yet to play the game. So, the story of the treasure hunt started right at this moment, during one of my live streams on my personal YouTube channel. To get the most out of Get Even, you really need to read all the notes you find hidden around the levels. They give clues to what's going on and help you fill in some of the gaps in the story. At this point in the game, we're about 3/4 of the way through, things are slotting into place and we know who most of the main players are. Pinned to the wall here are a few notes, the first of which mentions weapons manufacturer Roger Howard and the fact that he owns a small warehouse on Small Lane in Solihull, which he could potentially be using as a hideout. The next note shows a list of times, dates and map coordinates, and then the final note from Roger Howard to the player character Black asks Black to meet Howard at a certain location based on some more map coordinates. Map coordinates which match a set of highlighted coordinates on the previous note. Now, after my stream, I decided to go back to that second note and type the coordinates into Google Maps to see what I could find, and this is where things started to get a little interesting. The most common form of coordinates are written in degrees, minutes and seconds. However, all but one of these coordinates are written in an altered form of decimal degrees. Out of all of these decimal degrees coordinates, only one of them actually worked, and when entered into Google Maps, it takes you straight to the headquarters of the Farm 51, who are the developers of Get Even. And it's 100% them because photos linked to that location show the Get Even team having a party next to the pond behind the building. There was still one more coordinate to try though, one that was written completely differently to all the others. This highlighted set of coordinates is a legitimate DMS coordinate that, when entered into Google Maps, takes us to a tree on the edge of a field right next to a road named Small Lane in Solihull, which is the actual location mentioned in the first note that talks about Howard's potential hideout. Now, this just brings so many questions to mind. For a start, what is so special about this coordinate? Why was it written differently to all the others? If one of the other coordinates points to a place of meaning to the developers, does that mean this one does too? Is it just a random spot, or could the developers have actually hidden something there? I guess there's only one way to find out. Who's up for a road trip? Okay, so we're outside of this path here that I've been looking at on Google Maps for ages. It's a lot more overgrown than it was on Google Maps. The way we've got to go, the place where the coordinates take us to, is somewhere over in that field. The fact is, these coordinates are so specific, and the fact that it mentions this lane in the game, it just makes me think it's worth checking out. Now, this field
is owned by someone. I believe it's owned by someone called Fowler's Farm, so I'm going to have to go there and ask permission first. And I'm kind of nervous, like this is the first time I've ever been on a real life treasure hunt. I don't know what the farm people are going to say, whether they're going to let me go in or not. I don't know if we're going to find anything there. Maybe we'll find some treasure, maybe we'll find the entrance to a secret base like there is in the game, who knows? Guess we'll find out.
If you wanted to get to that point, then you'll have to see the people who rent that land off the owner there.
Right, no.
And then you can access to there.
Oh, I see, okay.
Yeah? The guy who owns this land is Polish.
Ah,
Oh,
so I don't know if it's like family.
wow, okay.
Heritage.
His name's...
Yeah, that makes
All right.
sense. Cool, so I spoke to the Fowlers and it turns out that the marker coordinate isn't actually on their land. It's actually on a field just behind. A field that Sorrel here has kindly let us explore. Now, what we did find out from the Fowlers as well, which was interesting, is that this land supposedly is originally owned by a Polish farmer. So that is a good connection there between the game and real life, because the game, of course, was made in Poland. The Farm 51 is located in Poland.
That you can see through there is the old shelter. It's been there as long as they've been here. It's all completely fenced off. We've never done anything with it, but it depends exactly where it lies.
Yeah. So that's pretty. So there's an old abandoned shelter very close to a point in a video game that says there's a hideout. So
Basically.
this is like a real life treasure hunt. It's very exciting. So as far as you know, no one from a Polish video game company has come here and asked to like do something here, to hide something here.
Not as far as I've ever known, and it's never been mentioned to me.
So we're now in the exact spot that the coordinates in the game take us to, which is this set of trees here. Now, at first glance, there's nothing here. It doesn't look like anyone's placed anything here. I'm going to have a quick look in the bushes just to find out. A little bit of a fence there, some cobwebs, a stone. Definitely nothing here, but I think what this coordinate is actually referring to is this old barn over here, this old shelter. Now in the, let's remind ourselves of the text in the game that talks about this coordinates. It says, when ADS downsized, Roger Howard had to sell most of his assets, including the two biggest warehouses and ADS headquarters, which were acquired by his rivals from FDG. But he never sold a small warehouse on Small Lane in Solihull. Why is that building so important to him? Could it be his hideout? So that there, by a process of amateur investigation, that there is Roger Howard's hideout, which could possibly be owned by a Polish farmer who has some kind of connections with the Farm 51. Let's go take a closer look. So here I am in what is potentially Roger Howard's secret hideout. It's definitely fallen into disrepair since the events of Get Even in 2015. There's not too much in here. I was kind of hoping that maybe there'd be some Get Even swag hidden around, maybe a t-shirt or I don't know, a collector's edition of the game. There is nothing, but it is very awesome to have finally tracked down this location I've been looking at for quite a while on Google Maps.
Unbelievably, the threads in this mystery were coming together quite nicely. I'd gone to the coordinates on a whim, not exactly sure what I'd find, and I'd come away with some potential family links between those coordinates and someone who worked with the studio. But was it all just wishful thinking on my part? I left my details with Sorrel and hoped that the farmer who owned the field would get back to me. They never did, sadly, but a couple of days later I was able to arrange a Skype call with Lionel Lavisa, the executive producer on Get Even.
Lionel, thank you very much for taking time to speak to me about Get Even. Now, I've been on a little bit of a treasure hunt, right? So in the game, there is a list of coordinates on the wall. One of them, with a little bit of fiddling around, led to the Farm 51 in Poland. Another coordinate, the one that's highlighted, which is where Roger Howard asks to meet Black. I typed that coordinate into Google Maps, and that led me to a farm in Small Lane in Solihull. I went to the exact coordinates that the game gave. A few meters to the right of that location was a broken down old farm shelter. Now, my theory is that someone in the Farm 51 who was involved in deciding the location of the game has a relative who lives or owns that farm, or who did at some point live around the area. Am I correct?
I'm not sure. I would say that that would be a coincidence. I don't think so. There is something that you have to know, is that in this game there is a lot of very small detail that everyone wanted to put something. So you have level designer that they put name of book they like, or poster they book they like. There is some people that put quite a bit of themselves in the game in different fields. I was not forbidden them to do that. Basically everyone could put in the team something that they want to put in the game. So I would not be surprised if the relative of someone was owning this farm and he put the coordinate for that. But it was not like a big production reason that we say, oh, this field is very important, let's put the coordinate there. It was not that at all. But I'm 80% sure that it's just a coincidence.
That 80% chance wasn't great, but it did leave room for a small amount of hope. Hope that was instantly shattered a couple of hours later when Lionel forwarded me an email from the game's level designer.
Aside from the Farm 51, what an obvious joke, the place you were quoted is just random forest near the location where the game takes action. Answering your question, there is no deep reason why we chose this coordinate.
So there we go. Despite some tantalising theories suggesting otherwise, it turns out the Small Lane coordinates in Get Even were just placed there completely at random by the developers. I am sad that I went all that way and to find out that there was no connection at all, but my journey wasn't wasted because I did pick up some Fowler's extra mature strength warning cheese before I left. Let's give it a taste test. Oh, can't get in. It's very smelly. Oh, that is good. Oh, that is super strong, but that is lovely. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. Before I go, I should give a couple of shout outs. The first shout out I need to give out is to John D, a regular viewer, who was the first person to spot the Small Lane coordinates. I'd also like to give a shout out to Fowlers for their lovely directions and their even lovelier cheese, and also to Sorrel from Neddyland Animal Sanctuary for letting us poke around her farm when really she should have been working. Whoops. Anyway, if you did enjoy this video, do give it a like and subscribe to Eurogamer for plenty more. And why not check out one of these other videos that are on screen now while I sit here and tuck into some more lovely Fowler's cheese. Oh, lovely. Oh, it's so strong. I wish I had some chutney. It's good, huh? Very farmy. I need an ale.